So a renter that I rented my car out to broke the contract and I had to take him to court. Now, this is a rare occasion. It's only happened one time in the 5 years that I've been renting out my cars. But these car rental gurus, they want to make it look like it's so easy to get the money and it's so lavish. But I bet they didn't have to take a renter to court and represent themselves. So, and this is very strange talking about this situation on the internet, but I know that this situation will be able to not only help you in the car rental business so that you understand the sorts of different case scenarios that could happen, but this will make you feel more confident in getting into the private car rental business. Just wait till I get to the end and you'll understand why you'll feel more confident, not less. So this happened in 2021, and I had a renter come and pick up my vehicle. At the time, the car that I was renting out was a Chevy Spark. It was a 2014. It was a really tiny, small car, and it was one of my number one cars that I would rent out. So she comes, she gets the vehicle, everything's fine. I do the standard check-in procedure where I take pictures of all the outside angles of the car, and I take pictures of the inside of the vehicle. And the reason for this is so that if a renter then takes your car and brings it back with any scratches or any damages, you can say, this isn't how I gave the car to you. And here's the pictures with the timestamps for proof. So you always want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence especially when you're renting out your cars privately. So she ended up, you guys, and this is so crazy. So I have several cars that I rent out, and I didn't really realize at the time that she was supposed to have brought my car back. And so the next morning I woke up, I said, wait a minute. I think that Chevy Spark was supposed to come back yesterday. I think that was the end of her rental period. And so I went to go look at the contract that she signed, and sure enough, the last day was the day before. And so I call her up, and at this point, it had to be about 10 a.m. And so I'm calling her, and she is not answering the phone. It was a Tuesday, as a matter of fact. It was a Tuesday. So she's not answering the phone, but I'm thinking, you know what? She's probably at work. Like, maybe she'll just call me when she sees the missed calls. And she'll be like, she'll let me know what's going on. Guys, she did not call me back. She did not call me back. She did not call me back at all. And so at this point in time, I had been calling her, and then I'll wait an hour or two, and then I'll call again, and she just wasn't. And I'm texting her, and I'm calling her on Facebook. Because after a while, after several hours went by, I no longer care if you're at work. I don't care even what you're doing, because you're in my car. You're in my vehicle. So I'm about to call as many times as I need to call, because you were supposed to drop it off the day before. If anything, I'm being lenient by allowing you to keep it the extra day, even though I didn't mean to allow her to keep it the extra day. Anyway, so she's not answering. So I'm like, you know what? Fine. And so I ended up finding some of her friends and family members on Facebook, and I ended up inboxing them and being like, hey, such and such has my car. If you find her, can you let her know that she needs to bring me back my vehicle? And so I had ended up, after I did that, I went to the police station and I reported my car stolen. Forget it. And so because it was stolen. Even though I knew she had the vehicle, she was supposed to return it. So now it's stolen in my mind. So I made the police report, And remind you, I had just made the Facebook post to her friends and inboxed all her family members. After I left out the police station, I want to say maybe like 10, 20 minutes later, mind you, I had been calling her that whole day. And I didn't make a police report until about 4 o'clock that afternoon. So you do the math. From 10 a.m. to basically 4 o'clock, I did nothing but try to get you on the phone. But as soon as I make the Facebook and start inboxing your family on Facebook, finally she calls me. And she was like, you didn't have to make a post on my page, and you didn't have to inbox my family members. I was at work. I have a real job. I guess she was trying to insinuate that what I do for a living, renting out my cars and doing my other businesses, that I'm not a real, I don't have a real job, right? So I'm like, listen, just give me my vehicle, just pay for the extra day, and we're fine. And she ended up dropping off my car, but when I got the vehicle, she had ashes all in the car from smoking cigarettes and stuff. So I'm like, I called her. I said, hey, you're going to have to pay me for the damages. And she refused. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just take you to court. And so I ended up, you guys, off of, mind you, my rental cars are only $50 a day. So all she had to literally do was pay me $50. And I would have just chucked up the rest of the smoking fee and all that, like, because I just would have been over it. But she didn't want to pay me anything. So a $50 charge turned into this whole huge thing. So I ended up suing her, and I sued her for $650 because I had to add in the fact that it was a late delivery. So I had a late charge. I had missed a booking because I had people coming to get the car and she didn't return it. So I had to add that in there. I had to add the smoking fee in there. I had to add the cleaning fee, you guys. So this turned into a whole situation. So the crazy thing is that I actually ended up winning. Like, I won the case. And what was even crazier was that, like, maybe 2 weeks prior to me going to court, her lawyer kept calling me, and he kept trying to basically, scare me into the lawsuit. And I was not backing down because I knew I had a contract that she signed, and I knew she broke the contract, plain and simple. And the judge could see that as well. Like, the judge listened to both of our stories and was just like, why didn't you bring her back her vehicle? Judgment for the plaintiff, which was myself. So off of a one-day rental for $50, I ended up winning my whole entire case that was worth $650. So I want you guys to know that even if you decide to get into this private car rental game, even if they want to play with you, even if renters want to play with you, you're going to have a contract that I provide, because anybody who takes my courses, they get the templates for the contracts. My contracts have all been put together by lawyers. They've been looked over by lawyers. So the type of contract that I provide when you're doing your private rental, you can put it in front of the judge. So you don't have to worry about, is somebody going to take me seriously if I'm doing this on my own, if I'm starting up my own private car rental business. You bet your bottom dollar they're going to take you seriously. You bet your bottom dollar. So I wouldn't worry about running into any situations, because any situation somebody wants to try to put themselves in, you have contracts that are legally binding that you can put that person right in front of the court and get everything that's due to you. So I wanted to bring up the story about the time when I had to actually sue a renter, because people think about that like, you want to start your own private car rental business. Well, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? Listen, I've been renting out my cars privately for over 5 years. There isn't a scenario that I haven't seen. There isn't a scenario that I haven't been in when it comes to renters and renting out my vehicles. So if you're thinking about starting up your own private car rental business and learning from someone who has been in the game for 5 years, who has legally binding contracts, who has a full fleet of cars that she rents out to this day, I've been doing this 5 years and I'm not going to stop. It's a really, really good way to make money. That was only one renter, you guys. In 5 years, I've had one renter that did that I had to actually sue because they had the audacity to try to keep my car. So it only happened one time. Most people see the contract, they see it's 3 pages, they see I'm taking pictures of their license, and they know this is not not a game. So you're gonna be respected when you start this business. The renters are gonna look at you with a lot of respect. So you're gonna really be able to feel very professional about your business, especially with the legal paperwork that I can provide. I'm actually launching a free cohort where you'll be able to join in weekly on Zoom, and we'll meet up, and we'll be able to meet up once a week, and we go over the step-by-step of how to actually launch your cohort. Launch your private rental business. So the cohort is going to meet up weekly over Zoom, and we are going to meet for 8 weeks. And at the end of the 8 weeks, you'll be all ready to launch your business. So if this sounds like something, a stream of income that you could manage, hey, I can manage cleaning out my car, keeping oil changes, making a contract, and renting out the car, then you're going to want to join my cohort, because I'm going to be able to go through all of those ins and outs, those details, those intricacies that comes with the business. So please join me on the journey.